Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys had a great week. We're at the end of it. It's Friday finally, and the markets didn't do too well. Bitcoin didn't do too well either. Miners were down again today, and most of it was probably based on the FedEx news. Obviously, they came out. They were way under. That dropped the market even more. And then we had obviously the CPI data this week. That crashed the market as well. So we're going to take a look at obviously markets, Bitcoin, Ethereum, see what's going on there. On those guys, we're going to take a look at the miners as well, see how they did today. We're also going to take a look at the miners as far as short interest. As far as who's being shorted, has the short interest gone down? Has the short interest gone up? So we'll take a look at all the miners there. And that's it. We'll call it an easy day here. So as always, not financial advice. You guys know the drill here. I'm invested in the following coins and companies. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider subscribing. Hitting the like button helps me out. And let's get into the meat and potatoes of it all. So here's the market. S&P was down 0.72%. Dow Jones was down 0.48%. NASDAQ was down 0.9%. So obviously not a good day for the market. Bitcoin has also been testing our support line at 19,500. You can see it here, which is our red line right there. And we did bounce off of it quite nicely. We bounced off it a couple of times here on the 1 hour chart. You can see it 1, 2, 3, and then 4. We kind of bounced. This one we kind of went below it and stayed below it a little bit here. But we bounced off it. Obviously, it's not looking too great for Bitcoin right now. RSI has been slowly going up here in the span of time. So if we go all the way back up here, we were at much higher, but the price has continued to go lower, which is concerning. So our battleground is now going to be the 19,500 mark. We're battling it right now. We did rise above it for now, but we will have to see obviously what happens over the weekend. Over the weekend, I'm thinking it's going to possibly fall. Now, where it's going to end up at, I know that's 17,000 prior. Before that, 17,000, where was it? Let's go to the daily chart here. It was 17,600, I believe. 17,500, something like that. We ended up on that day. That was 17,567 is where we ended up at. We are at 19,724, so it's basically like a $2,000 drop to that point. And that could be a possibility, but I don't think it's going to happen just that quickly over the weekend. I think it's going to take a little time. We're going to be battling with this support here for at least a while, I think, before we drop down. But it could happen faster than I think. No one can predict as far as what's going to happen here, but right now, at least on the daily, RSI has been coming down, but price has been coming down as well, so it's not too bad. But on the 1 hour chart, obviously, we're seeing RSI going up a little bit while price is going down, so that's not a good sign there. Ethereum is at 1,430 right now. It's down 2.85% on the day. We are going to be changing over to the next day in about a half an hour or so. And that one has been going down as well. We've had obviously 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the last 6 days we've been in the red. Looking at the 1 hour chart, we can see here also ESI has been going up, or the RSI, sorry, ESI. RSI has been going up. Price has been coming down. Not a good sign there as well. I think we're going to be coming down lower on that one as well. There's just a lot of macro things going on, obviously, in the economy worldwide. That's putting a lot of pressure on people selling. Obviously, we have the FOMC meeting next week also. That's going to be a tough one. We'll see what happens there. Some people are saying that if we get a 100 basis points, the market might rally for a little bit, just to kind of stomp out possible inflation. But we'll see what happens there. We'll cover it, obviously, when that does happen. So onto the miners here. Annie was down today 3.09% to 59 cents. Argo was up 2.53% to 40 cents. Bit Digital was down 12.41% to $1.27. Bitfarms was down 2.36% to $1.24. CleanSpark was down 76.5 to $3.74. I did buy a little bit more Bitfarms and CleanSpark today. Didn't put a lot in. I think we're going to be going down even a little bit more. So I put in just $500 and basically broke it between the two here a little bit. I got 100 shares of CleanSpark and 140 shares of Bitfarms added to my position just to dollar cost average in a little bit more. I'll probably put in a little bit more, another 500 next week. We'll see where the market goes there, but just slowly dollar cost averaging into it. Cores was down 10.45% to $1.80. DigiHouse was down 5.56% to 85 cents. DMG was up 2.97% to 21 cents. Greenidge was up 1.9% to $2.15. Hive was down 6% to $4.23. Hut 8 was down 8.49% to $1.94. Iris Energy surprisingly was up actually today 12.69% to $5.06. Luxfolio was up also 12.39% to 6 cents right now. Marathon was down 9.53% to $10.82. And I think Iris Energy was up because they got a good rating from an analyst. I believe that was the case there. Mawson was down 8.07% to 61 cents. Riot was down 9.96% to $6.65. Soluna was down 4.33% to $1.99. Stronghold was down 10.14% to $1.24. So it hasn't been great. So let's take a look at the miners here as far as which ones are getting shorted. Has the short interest gotten worse or has it gotten better? So let me see here. Stocks, miners. Okay. So on Annie, we're seeing that the short interest has been coming down. We did peak at a high of 5.6 million roughly back in, this was February. We have come all the way down to 1.4 million here at the end of, or middle of August, looks like. We're still waiting on the latest release on that one. So that one has been coming down, which is good for Annie. Argo, don't have any data on Argo. Bit Digital has been coming down as well. They did peak here at about December of last year, 11.1 million shares. They are down to now basically 5.1 million shares. So that's also good. That's half of what they were before. So that's a good decrease there. Bitfarms has been coming down as well. It did peak at April at 16.3 million shares. It is now at 13.1 million shares. So a little bit of a decrease, not much. But nonetheless, it is a decrease on that one. CleanSpark peaked actually here rather recently here. It was in June at 8.3 million. It went down to 6.5 and now it's back up to 6.7. So it's still a little bit better than it was, and I'm surprised that they are still shorting it. Obviously, we've had a lot of news for CleanSpark that has come out recently that has been bullish in my opinion, but the stock is just not reflecting that right now, and trying to figure out why that is. Cores has been getting short interest increasing here. It looks like 18.7 million shares being shorted right now. They started out last year, looks like in September at 644,000. That's a pretty big increase here to 18.7 million shares being shorted on Cores. DigiHost has been coming down here. It peaked in February at almost 1.2 million shares being shorted. It is down to now 503,000 shares being shorted. So that's good there. DMG, no data. Hive peaked here in, looks like May. Peaked at 23 million, but obviously they had the reverse split here. That did come down here a little bit, so it's kind of hard to tell, but it has been going up to 8.6 million shares recently. Hut 8 looks like it peaked right around June. It peaked at 13.9 million shares. Come down a little bit here, went back up, and then now it's coming back down to 12.6 million shares. So a little bit of a decrease, but not much. Iris Energy looks like they peaked here. What was this? 512, and then we had 512.8. Yeah, so they peaked in March at 512,000 shares roughly. They did fall to 256,000 shares in June and have been increasing ever since then. They are now at 375,000 shares. So that's not good. Luxfolio, no data on them. Marathon looks like they peaked here just recently in July, at the end of July, at 30 million shares. They are coming down to 25 million shares right now. And obviously that's because they are starting to install their miners and everything else that's going on with them. Mawson peaked here on February 28th, 522,000 shares, not million, 1,000 shares. Bottomed out here at 199,000 shares in June. They've gone up back to 383, and they are down now again to 291,000 shares. So not too bad on that one. Riot looks like they peaked here at the end of July, 31.2 million shares. They are down a little bit to 26.2 million shares. So that is good news there as well for them. It's kind of hoping that obviously the short interest can kind of go lower and then the price can actually go up higher on them. So Luna was peaking in February of this year at 717,000, and they've been kind of slowly falling down here to 425,000 shares right now. So that's pretty good too. And Stronghold, obviously, huge interest, obviously, after the news came out that they were not able to basically pay for their loans on Bitcoin miners. They had to give the miners back. So we've obviously had a huge spike here to 3.5 million shares being shorted. It has come down a little bit to 2.7 from where it was at 1.9 million. So pretty big increase there, obviously, in that time span. So those are the miners. We'll see how they continue going. I'm really surprised. Obviously, Iris Energy went up pretty nicely today. But I'm surprised that CleanSpark is not getting the love. And I'm surprised that Cores is still being that shorted. I think Cores is basically because of all the debt that they have. I think a lot of people are thinking maybe they're not going to be able to pay that debt and they're going to go under. But I think they still have the possibility of obviously diluting shares, pulling money out that way. But we'll obviously have to see what happens there. So I can understand why this is possibly being shorted quite heavily here recently. All right, a couple other things I want to talk to you guys about are obviously the miners. I'm still waiting on Mawson and Soluna to provide their updates for August. So when that does happen, we will obviously provide you guys with that information. And after that, we'll do the miner versus miner. That's kind of what I'm waiting for. So I'm surprised they haven't provided this yet. Usually Mawson provides it by like the 15th of every month. So they're a little bit behind here a day. So I'll give them until possibly next week sometime before I start reaching out to them on Twitter and saying, hey, what's going on? Where's your monthly update? Same thing for Soluna. Soluna usually provides their information towards like the 20th of every month. So we'll look at that. But our next Bitcoin halving is in 550 days. Yep. So every day we're getting closer to that halving event, which is obviously good for Bitcoin. So we just got to weather the storm, I think, get through all this madness, obviously in the economy and everything else. Hopefully by then we'll be on the other side of it all, and we can obviously see a nice gain on Bitcoin, the economy, and everything else. Next, we obviously know that Ethereum stopped being proof of work, transitioned over to proof of stake. Other miners that are still proof of work, like Ethereum Classic, has seen huge increases in hash rate. So they were averaging about 63 terahash. At the peak, they were at 308 terahash. So that's 5x, almost 4x, 5x. And basically hash rate being transferred over from Ethereum to Ethereum Classic. We can also see this in some of the other coins. Raven coin here is another one that has been steadily going up in hash rate. It was at 10.6 before the merge happened, and then obviously it peaked here at 22.9. So almost a 3x in hash rate increase on them. And it looks like the miners are just trying to figure out where to move their machines to. We also have Bitcoin Gold here that has seen a huge rally here. Before the merge, we were at 2.06. Was it mega? I can't be mega. What's that term? Terahashes. This is millihash? No. MS. Whatever that is. I can't think of it right now, but it was at 2.06. We went up to basically a high of almost 7.5 ms per second. So that equates to almost 3x, 3.5x, something like that, in hash rate increase just in those couple of days. So miners are really trying to figure out where they can still make money on proof of work coins. And we're seeing this obviously in here. And then we also have, obviously, Dogecoin becomes the second largest proof of work cryptocurrency after Bitcoin. And Dogecoin is part of Litecoin. So if you mine Litecoin, you also get Dogecoin on that one. So that one's obviously being impacted by this as well. Dogecoin is the number 10 spot. Litecoin is the number 22 spot as far as market cap is concerned. And I think that's going to stay the way it is. Ethereum Classic obviously has jumped up quite a bit as well. So that is just quick news on that. Also, we have the Biden White House has just released its first ever framework on what crypto regulations in the U.S. should look like. It's just a framework. The framework outlines the ways in which the financial services industry should evolve to make borderless transactions easier, as well as how to crack down on fraud in the digital asset space. The new guidelines follow an executive order issued obviously in March, in which President Joe Biden called on federal agencies to examine the risks and benefits of cryptocurrencies and issue official reports on their findings. So we still have, I think, until next year when those reports come in, and then they'll obviously start making some possible recommendations and changes to the way things are done right now. And finally, let's take a look at, did I close it? I did close it. So let's go into what to mine. And we'll just use what we have here. We can see here that Caspa is now at $2.88, at 4 cents for the miners that were using GPUs. But we are seeing obviously some of the other ones come down here. Where were they? Raven coin is at now 75 cents. We also had in here, I think I might have missed it already. I think I did. Yep. But now you're seeing it. Excuse me. Ethereum Classic is now a negative 3 cents. So obviously too many miners moved over into Ethereum Classic. That is not profitable anymore unless the price of Ethereum Classic goes up, which I'm doubting that it's going to happen anytime soon. especially with the market that we are in right now with Bitcoin, everything else. I just don't see that happening right now. So those miners that got into it have obviously, as we can see here, started to pull out. They just noticed that it wasn't profitable. So they're pulling out of that one, going into some of the other ones that we've seen here, Ravencoin, Bitcoin Gold as well. And we can see, where's Bitcoin Gold? I saw it here earlier today. Did it drop off? Here it is. So Bitcoin Gold is at 88 cents. That will obviously come down as well as we get the adjustments and difficulty happening to it. So it's right now a wild west in the GPU mining space as far as proof of work coins go. They are all trying to figure out where they can, make the most money right now. So we'll see what happens. That is it. That's all I got for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Tomorrow we'll probably cover, either tomorrow or Sunday, I'll do a video on the miners as far as how do they compare with Bitcoin over the week. It doesn't look like it's going to be a good week for the most part, but we'll take a look at it, and we'll also cover pretty much what happened during the week as well. Just to kind of look back this week in Bitcoin miners. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out. And then I'll see you guys in the next one. I hope you guys have a great weekend. We're getting into middle of September. Things are starting to cool off a little bit, so hoping you guys can enjoy the outside a little bit more before winter actually comes. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then,